Hey everyone, Cynics here, and it is once again International Self-Portrait Day. I know a lot of you guys are waiting. When am I going to make my self-portrait day video? Well, I'm working on it. It is currently past the middle of the day. I am just now recording commentary. I was busy trying to finish this painting. It's a bit of a scramble, a bit of a rush, but I'm done with the art and I'm ready to finish all this rendering and editing and get this thing out there to you guys. So whenever you see this, I know you might not see it until after Self-Portrait Day is over, which is November 1st today. But even if you see it late, still do a self-portrait. It's good to at least make sure you do one every year. If not more, do the one, even if you're late. It's fine, and just get something done. And, it's good to be able to look back at these. I've done over 10 of them. I don't know. I should actually count next time. But I've done a lot of them, and some of them have been some of my favorite art pieces. The one from last year was probably one of my favorite art pieces that I had done up to that point. I just really liked it because I was relying on the shapes. It had the right combination of shapes and also a little bit of rendering. Just combining the things I loved about art and kind of doing it in a delightful way. For this one, I absolutely had no idea going in. The sketching part, I was winging it. I was like, this is my face. I'll just kind of draw it from the front. Last year was a little more 3/4, so I'll go more for a front view this time. And then I added the hands, which was a big mistake. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done hands. Hands just added so much time to the rendering and the painting and everything about it. So yeah, in hindsight, you don't have to put hands in your self-portrait. But I was like, I've never done my hands with my face, so I can try to do that. No, okay, that's a little bit ambitious though, so it's a bit messy. And even just the concept as a whole, I hadn't really figured out, so I'm being very loose and experimental with these lines and shapes you can see. But I'm going for, I think, something where I'm kind of squeezing my head together just a little bit. I'm holding my head together. It's got a little line down the middle, and I'll get more into that in a moment. But as you may know, if you're like hyper perceptive, for my self-portrait days, I always like to try to encapsulate something that sums up the year for me. So in previous ones, it's been kind of focused more on successes on YouTube or successes in social stuff, or even negative things. There's one where I'm like floating above the water, and that was the year where I had a horrible case of pneumonia and all this stuff, and it's just a big mess. I'm a very unhealthy person. No, I just have bad luck with genetics and all that, but that's fine. But it actually does play into the image that I made this time. And once again, I didn't know what I was going to do to start, so it just kind of came about experimenting, nothing planned out, but it came out kind of interesting, I guess, concept-wise. So this year, as a whole, a lot of things have happened to me. It's been generally a great year. I moved into a new place, got my own place. Me and my wife live here. It's wonderful. I've been still teaching wonderful classes at Laguna College of Art. I've started teaching at Brainstorm as well. So I've expanded my teaching responsibilities. I've expanded my life responsibilities with the house, got some new cars, all that kind of stuff. Just being a responsible, productive member of society. And, I've had some amazing experiences. I went up to Big Bear with a bunch of students, as well as Scott Flanders, who has a great little video tutorial, by the way, on Proco's channel. Go check it out. It's the plug for that. And that was an amazing little art retreat that I did with him. And then after that, there was, of course, Lightbox, which was just another absolutely mind-blowing, mind-expanding event where I got to meet so many amazing artists that I love and admire, and all around one of the best art experiences I've ever had. So there's that, and I got to enjoy it with some great friends. Obviously, I had Ahmed there and just all sorts of just wonderful friends that I didn't get to spend enough time with throughout, the course of my regular life, but I got to meet them all at Lightbox and have a good time. So that's probably one of the highlights of the year for me personally, Lightbox. But unfortunately, for this past month, I've been going through some struggles once again, I have plenty of struggles going on in my life, just as a whole, with all my random issues. But as you may know, if you followed me a long time and you watch my About Me videos, I suffer from a crippling anxiety disorder. It was extremely bad in my 20s, really made me quit art for a while, do all this stuff. It's just been a big burden on everything in my life. It runs in my family, goes back through a lot of generations. Mine is pretty bad, it's pretty extreme, and it's definitely hurt me a lot in life. But I got on some good medication when I was younger. I got some help. I did all that stuff. I did what you're supposed to do. And I've managed to live a really good life with it. All those issues went away because of the medication, all that stuff. And this past year, I thought, just in my blind optimism, that I could just go off the medication and just rely on being a very healthy person, going to the gym a lot, eating healthy, and all of my troubles would be behind me because I hadn't had any of those troubles in such a long time. But just to be 100% honest and transparent, it got really bad this month. At the start of the month, from just not having had that medication, I went into full-on panic attack, horrible disorder mode, and it was just crippling, debilitating once again. And it reminded me not to take these mental health things for granted. You can't just be like, well, I haven't had it in a while, so I'm probably fine. No, you should always keep your health in the center of your focus and the center of your attention, and make sure you're doing the best things to keep your health, because it's like a little ticking thing back there. I was going to say bomb, but that sounds a little too horrible, but it's kind of like a little ticking bomb that you need to at least be aware of and taking care of. So I wasn't taking care of it. I got a little silly about it. I got a little lazy. Well, not lazy, because the weird thing is I was being so productive in terms of health and working out. And for the record, that stuff entirely helped. It made me a healthier person overall, made everything better. But there's certain aspects of, that mental health stuff that can't be solved by just being healthy and having a great life and all that stuff. There's still chemical imbalances that need to be addressed. So I've realized that I've stopped with my silliness on just being like, I don't think I need that medicine anymore. No, I'm back on my medicine. And it took me a couple of weeks to readjust. These medicines can be messy. So that was difficult and annoying, but nonetheless, I'm feeling much better now. So that is great. And I've learned my lesson about all that stuff. So in this art piece, I know I glossed over everything and we're almost done. But as it was coming out, I was like, I'll just start incorporating little bits of it. So when you have a panic disorder or any mental instability kind of thing going on, it feels like you're really just doing everything you can to keep your mind together and to keep things just stable. So I have this little feeling of just holding my head together while little bits of just chaos are flowing out of it, and a little bit of big, medium, small there as well. Always have your shape hierarchies. That's just good art. But yeah, it's just a little bit of like a void of space and chaos and energy and whatever that's trying to seep out of my head. But nonetheless, I got that little needle and thread in my mouth. That could be the pills I take. Who knows what it represents? There's a lot of little metaphors going on. But overall, I guess I'm okay with how this image came out. It's not my favorite, to be honest, but I do enjoy it. And I think it was fun. I'm glad I did it. Honestly, I was super pessimistic about it starting out. When I was like halfway through, I was like, this looks horrible and I hate it and I don't want to finish it. But I knew I had to, so I just kept with it. And in the end, I'm kind of happy. I'm fine with the results. It's pretty okay. I'm fine with it. It turned out better than I had expected it to when I started it. So that's the best you can hope for. It's always good to just see things through to the end. And sometimes, that's where you get the best unexpected results that keep you a happy and productive person. So I'm sorry I didn't get to talk at all about the art process, but it's the same as basically every other painting I've done. Do some black line art, colorize that line art with a nice deep red tone because you want those deep reds in the shadows and the crevices. And then just get crazy with your base colors. Really be exploring the cools, the warms, the reds, the blues. Get those all out of your system when you're doing the base colors. And then you can come back in, and as much as you need to, you can bring it back to a more boring, safe, natural skin tone. But get your craziness, get all of your wildness out there at that early stage. Anyway, I'm rambling way more than I expected, so I would like to thank you all so much for watching. And don't forget to do your own self-portrait. And I will be back shortly with some new videos. Once again, thank you so much for everything over this past year. And a huge, huge thank you to my Patreon supporters as well. Love you guys. You guys are all wonderful. Thank you. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention I got a cat and she is the cutest, most amazing thing in the whole world and I love her so much. Okay, see you everyone.